Okay, second try at this video. We've made so many changes, both to the design of the furniture for the FJ Cruiser Stealth Camper and some of the systems that we're using, especially the water system. I thought it'd be worthwhile just to do a quick, hopefully quick, summary of where we are. And I've added a few things back into this model, most notably the refrigerator, which um, is not actually going to look like this. This is what we could find on the SketchUp 3D warehouse. Reasonable proximity to what we're actually using. Um, um, it's been scaled to the exact size of what we're using, which is a NiceScope JP40. Um, yeah, so couple other things about this piece of furniture over here, we are calling it the cot. We're using for storage and for sleeping. It is going to have a component to it that we're calling the cot extension, which is a sliding component, which we need to get the length required for sleeping on this thing. And it slides back because we need that front passenger seat to be usable while we're driving. While it's kind of slid back and it's in this sort of locked in position using this little plunger I'm going to talk about in a minute, it provides an opening that allows some access to what we're storing inside of here. This kind of beige box is indicative of the pet briefcase porta potty that we are going to be taking around with us. So right now, that's our bathroom in a box. And yeah, no, these things are super cool. So just a few things. So this green box over here, that's indicative of our Anker Solix power station, C1000. And we're going to be plugging a lot of things into that, AC things, including the refrigerator is going to be plugged into that. On this plywood panel, that's 1/2-inch Baltic birch, there is a cutout here, this little rectangular cutout. That's to hold a combination AC USB outlet with an AC cord that's going to also plug into the power station. Next to that is this sort of round thing, which is the base of a LED light on a stalk with a red component for night light. It's our only light inside the FJ at night. And then below that, 2 switches for the exterior lighting for the 4 pods on the outside. And then on the front is a 1/4-inch HDPE panel just to kind of close off that storage area. So let's kind of show how this works. So that, excuse the herky-jerky nature of the animation. You know, it's my laptop. It's nothing else. It's not SketchUp. It's my laptop. And when that, so to make this work, I have to take the passenger seat, slide it all the way forward, and then tilt it all as far as it'll go in order to make this work. But once that's opened, it provides access to all the things under here. So there's some storage, there's the Anker power station, there's a water pump. There are 2 2.6 gallon collapsible water tanks that we're using for potable water. It's part of the water system. Yeah, so that provides nice, easy access to that. Now let's show the next scene, which closes off that gap, and those 2 sort of loose leaves to this cot platform just have rubber feet to hold them in place, but they just fit right down into the frame to form this. And this is 76 inches long. Plenty of room for layouts, 3 inches wide. We're going to be putting a 4-inch Hest foamy wide mattress, which is 30 inches wide, on top of that. Yeah, so that's going to be a really comfortable place to sleep. We're going to make some accommodation for the plunger in the mattress, so that yeah, just do a little cutout in it. No big deal. Okay, so let's go back to the previous scene. Okay, we're going to close that up. Okay, now we're going to raise that section, and we're going to look at the rail. All right, so this is a aluminum extrusion product from our framing supplier. It's meant for industrial linear movement applications, but we're going to use it for our cut extension because we really want this thing to slide easily and not get bound up. It's like I said, it's aluminum extrusion. It has two little steel rods that the wheels for the car, which are going to be attached to the cut extension piece, slide on. So yeah, super cool thing. We're thinking about putting a little bolt, getting this tapped, putting an 8mm bolt into the end of this to just keep the car from going further than we want it to. Debating that, but that's something that our supplier can do for us. So we're thinking about doing that. Okay, so let's go to the infamous plunger. So I wanted a way to keep this cut extension from sliding when I don't want it to slide. Well, like when we're driving, I want this thing to be locked in place. I don't want it to go anywhere. So did a little research, came up with this plunger idea, which has an 8mm pin, which fits into a receptacle that's going to be fit into the T-slot below it. And so it just holds it in place, and it's spring-loaded. My framing vendor, found one of my framing vendor, they want $75 for it, which I'm like, that's crazy. I found almost exactly the same thing at McMaster Car for $15, and that's what I bought. So I already have it in hand, and it's great. It'll be fine. So yeah, so that's, you just show how it works. You just pull it up, and that releases it. You slide the cut extension, let go of it, and yeah, it's good to go. So down, let's look at the glide car. So the glide car also is from our framing vendor. This is designed specifically to fit into that rail. Has 3 wheels, alternating height, which is adjustable, and it has adjustable tension, so you can control how easily you want this thing to slide, which I think is super cool. I want it to slide fairly easily. So yeah, and then that bolts to an angle, which is going to be part of the framing for the cut extension piece, and we'll bolt the plywood to the top of that angle, and then this part of our this is an extrusion piece of our framing. The end of that will bolt to the angle as well. So, and there's an identical arrangement on the other side, on the left side. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay, let's go back to kind of looking at sort of water. So you'll see that there's a red hose and a blue hose. The red hose is supply to the pump from the water tanks, and there's 2 2-gallon Rotopacks in the back. There's 2 2.6-gallon tanks in the front, 9.2 gallons total. The blue hose is the output from the pump to the back of the rig, and we'll be connecting a kind of a metal shower hose to this. All of this hosing is all 1/2-inch inside diameter PVC tubing, braided, reinforced, super nice, and flexible. So, and we're going to be clipping it down to the frame wherever we can, just to make sure it doesn't move. Yeah, so pretty nice. Let's take a look at the pump. All right, so we found a really nice 3 gallon per minute SureFlow pump designed specifically for RV and boat use, but I think really specifically for RV use. It's only 7.5 amps max draw on the system, which is great. I needed to keep it under 10. And you can see the sort of the red supply hose feeding into that. And what I'm not showing is I'm not showing the sediment filter, I'm not showing all the fittings, etc. But there are some things here. So I need this dimension, which is kind of why that pump is kind of pushed as far over to the right as possible in order to make that work. And then you can just see this super cool 4-way valve that I found on Amazon to make all this work, and I'll show that in a minute. Okay, here we're going to show the valve. All right, so really cool valve. I wanted something that would allow me to draw water from 2 different locations in the rig, from the front tanks and from the back tanks, which is what is shown here with these kind of like gray hoses. Those are 3/8 compression supply lines, stainless steel, typical plumbing supply lines, nothing fancy. I'm using those because all of the fittings and all of the threads on this valve are for compression fittings. Yeah, compression. So, which is great for these supply lines, because 3/8 inch supply lines are super easy to get. They're sold everywhere. The 5/8 on back here, not so easy to find. So that I've got a different plan for. I couldn't find a 5/8 supply line anywhere that was going to work with us. So I have a different solution for that, but I think it's going to work. But anyway, so these 2 supply lines. So the way the valve works is quarter turns. You can choose from both supplies, both tank locations simultaneously. That's cool. Each one individually, also cool. Or turn it off completely, just in case you need to. So, and I'm going to mount this thing to a little block of wood, which is going to be bolted to the framing, just to keep it in place so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm probably going to push it back to the corner, as far back as I can, because it's right in front of the anchor, and I don't want anything to kind of get in the way of the AC outlets, which are right here. There's a bank of them on the anchor, so don't want anything getting in the way of that. All right, let's move to the next. So now we're just kind of looking at where the valve is located. You can see it kind of like the supply line kind of feeding and attaching to the PVC tubing. And this is where those AC outlets are going to be. There's also a super cool light on the anchor. And this might be the only power station that actually has this. I don't know. It certainly wasn't something Goal Zero had. And this, you turn on this light, and you can, and if you're hunting around for things in this area at night when it's dark, or even during the day when it's dark, because it's dark in my FJ, even during the day, it illuminates this whole area, which is great. And you can actually kind of illuminate the water tank, so you can see where the water level is, which is super cool. So, and that light's not on all the time, and it has different degrees of brightness, so you can toggle between different things, and you can do the whole thing from your phone, because there's a great Anchor app that manages the power station, including the lighting, which is super cool. And you can turn the AC outlets on and off. You can turn the car plug, 12 volt plug, which is how we're going to supply power to our terminal block. Mini little distribution panel that's going on the back of this piece of plywood out of sight. Yeah, super cool. Okay, next. So now we're going to swing around to the back. Again, here's our 2 Rotopax tanks. I already have a black one that I bought mainly to kind of test a submersible pump, which didn't work. I'll probably buy a white one to go with it, just kind of salt and pepper. Why not? Honestly, I bought the black one because I saw some advertising for it. I'm like, that's super cool. I'll buy a black one. And then realized after buying it that really it's meant for an exterior application where the sun will heat up the water. So it's a water heating device. Whatever. So now I'll have black and white, but I don't have any plans to actually heat any of the water that's potable inside the rig, unless it's done by accident, just because the rig heats up on in the interior. I'll clip the supply line, the supply tube, to the framing, and I'm going to run this metal shower hose to the shower. It's essentially a faucet head that has its own little valve, on-off valve, which is super nice. So you use it. You put the PVC tube in the tank that has the water. I'll have a little gasket that's built into the cap. So it just lives in there, and that'll seal it, which is nice. So the water's not going to go splashing out. When that tank is empty, I just switch the tube to the other tank, and then I find a place where I can fill this up. And I'll carry a hose around with me, so for tank filling. Yeah, and then and then down here is the power switch for the pump. So when I use this, close the valve on the head, turn on the pump, get some pressure, turn on the valve as much as I need for water, and it's good. So yeah, and here's that fridge right next to it. You can see it's a little tight. So let's go to the next. Okay, so now we're going to kind of look at drawers. There's 3 of them, including the fridge tray. All of them are on lock-in, lock-out slides. The fridge is on 26. The camp stove is on 28, and the storage drawer is also on 28. So let's show the fridge first. And so, yeah. I have a bracket that I made for hold-down strap, which will go through the handle. Not sure if I'm actually going to need it or not, but I did make the bracket, so it's powder coated black. It looks really nice. So let's close that up. All right, let's take a look at the camp stove. So the camp stove is going to have a laminated lid that is really designed for. I've talked a lot about this, but this is sort of like a countertop for the outdoor kitchen. So you open the lid, and there's the camp stove living in there, along with some 1 pound propane bottles. You pull the camp stove out, close up the lid, put the camp stove on top of the lid, and you're cooking. You can use this for prep. You can actually use this surface over here, that end of the cot when the mattress is rolled up, also for cooking too. You can stage things on top of that, which is nice. And yeah, so let's what's this one? Let's close that up. All right. So this is our big storage drawer, our nested Magma induction cook set. It's going to live in the corner here. We've already tested, fits really nice. Right next to that, in the opposite corner, is where the Nespresso coffee machine, also tested that. It's really nice. That's going to live there, and it's just big enough it's just tall enough to fit in there. And then between them, we'll put our sleeves. Our Nespresso pods are going to go fit between there. We'll put some dish towels and things like that, and probably tongs and other assorted things in between to kind of fit in there. There'll be a soft-sided bin, removable bin, that we'll use for kind of organizing, holding all our dry goods, our dry pantry items, pasta, things like that, rice. And then just on this side, right next to the bin, will be, already is, a magnetic strip for knives. And we'll put at least 2 knives on there. We could put 3, but we'll have at least 2 different sizes. That goes there. So super easy to get to. Yeah. So yeah, so that's our not so quick summary of where we are right now, the FJ Cruiser Stealth Camper design. I hope you found this interesting. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks so much. See ya. Bye.